You guys are watching the Cowboys Report. It is a mailbag led by several super thanks on today's show. From Braden, what's your prediction on what the Cowboys do for their quarterback room next year? And if we sign somebody else, or draft someone, or keep someone, or have to make a trade? Great question. I don't know. The Cowboys can leak whatever they want to leak about, we believe in Dak, blah, blah, blah. Or hey, he's got to take less, but we want him, which okay, you're trying to make it seem like it's not your fault. You screwed up 4 years ago. That's why we're in this place. 5 years ago, I guess you want to be technical about it. I don't know what they're going to do. Check in again on September 1st, or I guess 11th, whatever, 10th, 9th, and have a better feel. Quarterback might not be on the roster. Hell, you could have an entirely new quarterback room next year. That is an option on the table for Dallas. Braden also forgot to say Happy Father's Day to you. Of course, Braden's comment, or super thanks, I should say, came in on Sunday, which I appreciate there very much, Braden. What you're seeing to begin today's live show are super thanks. It is a feature here on YouTube that allows you to donate just like you would on a live show, except on demand. You click the thanks icon, edit your message, send whatever amount you want, whatever message you want to send as well, even if it's Tom, you suck, that's fine. Every super thanks, we will give you a shout out for. From Johnny No Pulse, a $5 super thanks. Thank you, Johnny. This might just be Hopium. I think it'd be a very Jerry-style win to get Dak and CeeDee deals done, maybe even Micah, all together when they're in Oxnard, have a big press conference with the future of the franchise, and in Dak's case, they want for the foreseeable future. Look, I think there is Hopium. If we're being honest there, which is fine. It's June. You get to have Hopium. That is okay. It is legal. They also could have done this months ago and done the exact same thing. They could have done that in February. February 25th. We signed both guys. I just think that they are hesitant to pay people because they don't know how to manage their money properly, and they want to wait and let leaves fall. I think they'll do a deal during camp, if not beforehand. I think the Lamb deal should be done by the time they report to Oxnard, or I'm going to be pretty damn disappointed. But Dak and Micah might be Hopium. From Skeptical Fan, the Dallas Cowboys will win their 6th Super Bowl in 2035. 11 years I got to wait, which I don't really want to do in terms of the wait there. So I hope it comes sooner. I don't want to wait as long for that to have a hassle, of such a long wait and all that frustration. I hope it's sooner. It might not be. So prediction time with the pinned comment of today's video. What year will the Cowboys win another Super Bowl? Is it, 2035? Is it sooner? Is it later? Go vote, especially if the ad comes here on YouTube. From Mr. Man, what's a more problematic, Tom? The run defense, penalties, or the running game? Much love to you and your family. Thank you, my friend. Right back at you. I thought a long time about this one. The answer is a little bit of everything, right? In the end, I went with the penalties because that has impacted all 3 phases of the game. It's hurt you on offense, it's hurt you on defense, and on special teams. And it's really tough to win games if your run defense is bad, if the penalties are a nightmare, and or if the ground game is bad. So I'm not trying to be dismissive of those things. And playoff-wise, we've seen all 3 things hurt you. But having 100 yards in penalties, as this Cowboys team has had several times, that is really hard to overcome. If your passing offense is great, you can overcome a bad ground game. Offense and great as overall, the defense can overcome. It's not the easiest thing to be able to handle. So I went with penalties. All 3 are very, very valid, though. From Scott, let's be honest. This is about the next Cowboys head coach. It will be Zimmer. This is a Jerry Jones move, 100%. Get him in the building for a year to get acquainted with Parsons, Diggs, and Bland. And again, Jerry Jones doesn't do real head coaches anymore. I agree. That's the last part. The Cowboys haven't done a real head coaching search since Wade Phillips. It has been that long since they did a real head coaching search. It's been almost 20 years now. So it's such a ridiculous time frame to have. They need to have more, an actual search. To an extent, hire somebody, do a real search, because you'll get a better head coach than just interviewing 2 guys and hiring somebody. I am worried it'll be Zimmer, and that'd be very uninspiring if the Cowboys actually did pursue that path. Who will be the Cowboys head coach in 2025? You saw Scott predict Mike Zimmer. Who do you think it ends up being? Let me know in the comment section of today's show. From Crazy Saints, could Deuce Vaughn pull off being a slot receiver? If this is we're now making Deuce Vaughn a full-time slot receiver, it's not going to work. It's not going to be good enough. They have to do more than that. He's not a full-time slot. Now, if you give him the occasional slot receiver rep, remember the Pollard's getting slot receiver stuff. That's how I envision this, we'll just give him some reps there to help him as a pass catcher. That's a different conversation. But full-time slot, I don't think he has the skills for it. From Tyler, can you explain the NFL International Player Pathway Program, how those players don't count towards actual spots at the 3-man roster / practice squad? So in the offseason, they don't count against the 90-man roster. If they are on the 53, they do count. I think the Commanders did that last year with a tight end, if I recall correctly. The practice squad, though, is a freebie. The whole purpose of that is to grow the game. You're adding a player who hasn't played football for a very long time. They're international guys. Sometimes they're Canadian. Sometimes they're all across the world, of trying to give those guys some extra time to grow and expand the game. Most of these guys don't end up working out more often than not, but it is just a rule for the NFL that gives them freebies. And they rotate the normal player pathway guys so everyone gets a shot to do it. They just expanded it a little bit to include guys like Daxon after the NFL draft and even UDFA process. Now, if you guys like our Cowboys mailbags, thank you. Make sure you are subscribed. That is the only way to be featured on a Cowboys Report mailbag, is to subscribe and tune in here on the show. Michael Clark, listen, anyone speaking against Dak is a fool. I'll be here at the end of the season. I will be here before and after and during all the seasons. So, again, make sure you guys are subscribed. I get the general frustration with Dak because, fair or not, he's the quarterback, and all of the frustration for the offense gets thrown on him. It's kind of like I still think back to two moments for both of these things. Like Romo getting blamed for the Broncos' loss. He played great in that game. The defense couldn't stop a nosebleed. Dak still gets blamed, and Romo still gets blamed to this day, for the Jags' loss. He hit Noah Brown in the hands on 4th and 1. It's not the quarterback's fault at all. But the quarterback gets all the blame, and maybe even too much of the credit as well. I'm just going to go with Yeet Yeet. Do you think the Cowboys' Madden wins will translate to the regular season this coming year? No. No correlation. There'll be some overlap, but it's Madden. It's not exactly realistic. They beat the Niners. That's not going to happen. From Nate, Dak Prescott replacement, Mike McCarthy replacement, Jerry Jones replacement. The quarterback one, I have no idea. The head coaching one, they'll look at Mike Zimmer, they'll do something weird and look at like Jason Witten or something ridiculous. My ideal one would be Ben Johnson, and then I probably wouldn't change that much of the roster, frankly, because I think Ben Johnson can be really good at it. I think Dak's better than Jared Goff. Look at what he's got out of Jared Goff, right? Jerry Jones' replacement is obvious. It's me. That's the best path for Dallas, by the way. From Baylor, is Osa Odighizuwa about to break out and get paid somewhere else? Wouldn't surprise me. Did you guys see what the defensive tackle market did this year? Skyrocketed. Now, the one big thing for Osa, we've seen flashes of very good play. The consistency has not been very good. It has not been a promising angle in terms of stability, always being good, always having impacts. He has never been the most reliable year-over-year player. He has had down moments, especially in the back half of seasons. He has not been consistent. He starts the year hot. He's kind of gotten some Tank Lawrence in him, where he ends up being able to produce great against the Giants. But the back half of years, he tends to fade away. He tends to not be reliable and consistent later on as the years go on. He has kind of struggled in that area. So I'm hopeful, but I'm not paying him right now because I need to see more consistency into November, December, and later. So will Osa Odighizuwa have a Pro Bowl caliber season? Y for yes, N for no. Sound off for me in the comment section right now. Tyler, if money wasn't a problem, how much longer do you think Martin and Tank Lawrence have left in the tank? And could Bass Nalen have immediate impact to replace them? If money wasn't a problem, I think Martin probably give him as long as he wants. He's a Hall of Famer. But I think you're looking at 2 to 3 years max for Zack Martin. Tank Lawrence, it's a tougher question for me. He's not that old. He just turned 32 years old. For reference, Zack Martin is, let me double check, is going to be 34. So I think you're maxing out at 5 years. Tank, that's probably pushing it on the high end. Funny to use Tank there, by the way, for DeMarcus Lawrence. So TBD on that front. But I think that both those guys might be in the final year of the deal. Instant impact, Bass and Neyland could do it. It'd be a downgrade. You're hoping 2-3 years from now there's not a massive one. Bass will never be as good as Zack Martin was in his prime, though. And Neyland probably won't be as good as Tank was in his prime. But you're paying way, way less. Nate has his solution to the replacement stuff. Sanders is a coach. Draft Travis Hunter, Sheduer Sanders, Jerry Jones replacement. Jerry Jones replacement is still me. I have zero desire to hire Deion Sanders as my head coach. I think that's actually a terrible idea. This organization is already kind of too much of a circus. It's kind of ugly. It gets out of control sometimes. You add Deion Sanders to that, who allegedly made, I still wonder if it was a satire because it was almost too extreme, allegedly made all of his players go to Lil Wayne's concert because Sheduer was opening for them, and they had to support Sheduer's rap career. Red flags everywhere. My quarterback wants to be a rapper. Don't know about that one. Didn't work too well with Kelvin Joseph. Cole Beasley fell off after he dropped 80 Stings, which was a good song, by the way. That scares me. And getting Hunter and Sheduer, if those guys are good enough to want them, they're going to be top 10 picks. I think Hunter's going to be a stud, by the way. I think he's going to be a star. Sheduer has talent, but I think adding Deion and Sheduer, especially Deion as head coach, you can talk into the players once they get away from the neon Deion cycle. I'm just kind of scared of that one. Jerry's replacement, though, is still me. Help me get rid of all the in-bio bots in my Twitter DMs. Hit me up on Twitter at WhatGoingDowning.